inspiration, hopefully empowered you to make the correct choices in life. That's what he's here for, is to help guide you on the path of success. Kenny in particular has been part of your career for quite a while now, and he comes in with a vengeance. What I mean by that, man, he's got a really stern, aggressive, assertive message, right? And I love it because, you know, this isn't about, you know, can't get us floating around anymore. It's time to get to work, right? And he's all about hard work and dedication, and that's, you know, what our contractors are looking for. So he's a multiple business owner, very successful, and I'm sure you guys will give me your undivided attention, and I'm definitely sure you're going to get a lot out of this morning meeting. You guys are going to love it, so go ahead. Love your shirt, man. Give it up your shirt, man.
I knew that would be a hit, right? So I got some stupid questions I'm going to ask real quick. Who in this room has been to prison? Just raise your hand. Yeah. All right. Quite a few. I asked that for a reason, because the next question is, who's still in prison?
Ooh, yeah.
Think about it for a minute. Who is still in there? Who's still talking and walking and doing all that? Who still thinks they're in there? Like, we're institutionalized. I still fold my socks the same way and all that stuff. But I mean, who's like still wanting to talk about prison? And who still hears somebody say, "Oh, I called the cops on so and so," and gets all weird about it or whatever? You know, who's not a citizen of the country? You know. So you guys all are, right? So we're all done with prison. All right. So we can talk about work and freedom and stuff. Okay, good. Good point. So I say that I started that out because you know, I hire guys that are I hire guys from prison. Stockford Simpson did 23 years. He had one of those celebrity crimes. You know, he shot a cop. You know, and you know that's like the celebrity crime in there. You know what I mean? But it doesn't mean a fucking thing out here, right? It doesn't matter what he went there for. All that matters is that he wasted 23 years, right? So he's 23 years behind the guy that didn't waste it, right? And I think about that all the time. So I'll tell you guys a little bit about myself. Some of you guys already know who I am. Some of you guys have heard my story. I grew up in West Phoenix in the days of when the good meth was out there. So we were all spending days and days and days doing crimes. We did crime sprees back then, guys, like days and days and days. Did the Adobe Mountain thing. Did a couple years there as between 9 and 11, and then went back into my teens a little bit here and there. Did some Durango juvenile stuff and all that kind of stuff, and drugs, all that kind of stuff. I didn't say no to anything. Then I ended up in prison. Went to prison in '99. Got out in 2016. So I'm just February. It'd be 8 years for me, guys. So I'm still new in this world too, right? I'm just getting started. You know, I'm like that kid that's 26 years old, right? Because you move out when you're 18, right? And then you start your life. You know what I mean? So I'm the kid that's 26 years old, right? So I've been out for 8 years, and that's kind of how I look at it. And so anyway, so 17 years of my life wasted. Same as a lot of you guys. I don't know. We probably have 1,000 years of prison time in this room, and it's 1,000 years wasted. That 1,000 years does nobody in this room any good, right? You can't hang your hat on it. You can't hang your hat on being in prison. You can't hang your hat on how tough you are and all that stuff. You know, because you did prison time. It means nothing out here. You know. I interview guys from here. I have probably a half dozen guys now that came from New Freedom that work for at least one of my companies or the other. And I never ask them what their crimes were. Although I do look them up just out of curiosity, guys. I look everybody up, but just because I'm curious, you know. But I never ask them in the interview anything about their, you know, sexual preference or their crimes or any of that shit. I don't care, you know. I don't really care. I care about a guy that's getting out, putting his head down and working, right? Because there's ultimately that's all that really matters when you get out here. You know, you just hit the road and start working. You know. Me and Speedy talk about it all the time, man. Me and Speedy's had a lot of talks since I started coming here talking, and we're birds of a feather. We didn't spend a lot of time together, I don't think, on yards, but you know what's funny is that you start morphing into people that you're not even around. You know what I mean? You start becoming when you have that work ethic, that work ethic starts to make you a type of person, a type of human being, like a species of, right? So anyway, guys, that's my life, right? Prison guy, drug guy, all that kind of stuff. One thing I want to start with before we get into the nitty gritty of how I freaking survive out here, is I want you guys to just understand that every single day you have the opportunity here to wake up free and safe and everything, to look in the mirror and be grateful that you did wake up free and safe, right? So don't let the word grateful just be a word, guys. Let it be a feeling, right? Gratefulness is the kind of stuff where you're like, oh, I'm out one more day. If that's where you're at, right? I'm out one more day. It's pretty awesome, right? One day you get a lot of shit done in a day. Before I came here, I put 2 big pork shoulders on the smoker. I fucking bathed the baby. I fucking picked up all the dog shit. I fucking framed up a little bit of my Ramadan building. That was before I came here this morning. Imagine a whole day of doing stuff. You can get a lot of shit done, guys. So, we don't do that enough. We're not grateful enough. Me and Speedy were talking about, how we wish we had a drink. We wish we had a drink that would help you guys accept what you guys are going through. Just a drink that says, okay, now everything that I go through is a contraction phase waiting on the expansion phase, right? Because it sucks, right? Who's yesterday sucked? Raise your hand if your yesterday sucked. Legit. That's pretty good, right? So there's some gratefulness in here. That's what that tells me, you know what I mean? I was a poor kid. I was a penny counting poor kid, guys, right? And I remember having a lot of laughs during those little penny counting sessions with my sister and my brother, and the whole, I don't know whoever had to cash in a food stamp, you know what I mean? So you buy one piece of candy, and then one piece of candy, and one piece of candy, and then you save your little brother. And then my brothers and sisters had their little stash, but you even hid it from them because you were like, I'm not. And then you'd go buy an actual thing, like maybe a pair of fucking shell toes. Maybe it took you a year to save for a pair of shell toes. That was my addiction, white tennis shoes. You know what I mean? I loved it. I loved white tennis shoes, But the thing is that you can be rolling pennies and be poorer than all the other people and all the other kids and be embarrassed about that and still be enjoying yourself, right? But a lot of people get out here, and me too, I got out here and it's like, all this shit just not working for me. I wasn't satisfied. I wasn't grateful for the freedom part of it, And I tell this story all the time, but my brother just said, slow the fuck down, dude. My brother had been out for 6 years and owned a company by the time I got out. I was working for his company for $15 an hour, cash under the table, right? Which does me no good. Working my ass off. And I realized that through all of that, the gratefulness was cool because I woke up in the morning and I was like, okay, well this isn't enough. Work never was enough for me. It didn't fucking satisfy me or anything because it's not hard enough for me. So I would wake up and I talk about my crazy workouts, and they were all over the internet when I was out here fucking sharing just about everything. And I would wake up, put a mask on and a vest and all this other weird shit. I'd jog to the gym, I'd work out, I'd come home, go to work all day, usually about 14 hours is what my brother would have us put in. And then I'd usually go for a jog in the evening, and then I'd bed down, and then I'd wake up and do it all over again. And I realized that process was actually doing something for me, right? It was keeping me busy, and it was showing me that the hardest thing that I'll ever do is that thing that I did in the morning, right? And so I created a process, and I talk about this process all the time, guys. The process of getting to where you want to go has to be in the moment where you're at, seeing where you're going, right? So when I'm working for $15 an hour digging ditches, and that's what I was doing too, I'm dreaming of $115 an hour. My goal is $115 an hour. So what do I got to do? I got to work like a $115 an hour person, right? And I've told this story many, many times, and I tell my son, and I'll tell anybody that wants to hear it. If you work like you're worth $115 an hour, you will get there. Because when I got to $115 an hour, which I don't know if I ever was actually paid $115 an hour, but when I was kind of making that money, my mind went to $1,015 an hour. And then, you know, me and my wife were walking out of the store the other day, and I said, I felt like we're acting like people that spend money like they make $1,015 an hour, and I said, I want to put that in check, right? Because I don't want to live like a guy that makes $1,015 an hour. I just want to work like that guy, so I make that money, and then I end up, you know, through gratefulness and hard work and my process, I ultimately end up making that money. And I've said this before, guys, I don't know what I make an hour anymore. 8 years later, I don't know what I make an hour anymore. And that's pretty cool, because I don't have to worry about it. I just have to keep doing that process that got me there. Because it started to fade out for me. It started to fade out, and I started thinking about other people's lives. You know, I brought him on after 23 years. I hired him this, you know, a week after he came home. 23 years. He didn't have a clue what we were going to have him do, and neither did I, to be honest, guys. Brought him on. He just got a CDL the other day, about a couple weeks ago. That gave him a $5 or $6 raise. I can't remember which. And plus, now he's a commissioned employee. He went from making what he was making to an opportunity to triple it now. To triple it.
What did you do?
So, guys, I own so I was working for my brother's plumbing company, right? Never did plumbing before 2016. I did some shit throughout the years, but wasn't a plumber. And honestly, I still don't consider myself a plumber, although I did a lot of plumbing. My brother owned the company, and I was like, well, I can do this. So I went out and I partnered up with a guy with a plumbing company. He had just purchased it. He's another guy that had done a bunch of time in prison. Partnered up with him, became part owner of that company. We purchased another plumbing company just recently. After I talked here last, I went and bought another plumbing company. I started an HVAC company. I own a property services company, now a home services company, home concierge service, that I'm slowly kind of massaging and building into my little baby, you know what I mean? That was my first company I started. When I got out, 4 months after I got out, I was literally bicycling to jobs, man, you know what I mean? And fucking with a paint can and a freaking, you know, whatever I had to do, you know? And now, you know, the companies combined, I think we're between 8 and 9 million a year. And these are companies that were just kind of a couple of convicts running, trying to figure out, you know, how to get around in this world. And it's trades, right? It means something, right? Because it's something that you can take pride in. It's not you know, nothing against any job ever, because any job ever is better than no job ever, right? But the trades are something that you guys can put your stamp on, right? All you guys are in here, some kind of trade, painting and all that stuff. I've painted over 200 homes in the last 8 years. I've painted a couple myself, but I'm not a painter at all, period. I don't like prep, I don't like getting out, I'm not a patient person. But I've painted over 200 homes, you know? But so there's a lot of money in that. There's a lot of money in that. Me and JT talked about it last night. There's a lot of profit in it, a lot of money in it. And so I've done just about everything when it comes to the trades. Now my company does everything, right? Because that's kind of going to be my niche. And I think about it driving up here with you guys. You guys are doing something that like literally is a stamp on. It's your name, right? You don't even have to say how'd I do. It speaks for itself in the trades, right? Walmart Post or whatever, it doesn't speak for itself. I mean, you can do that job really good. Hey, how you doing? Let me check your receipt and all that kind of stuff, whatever, you know. You can do really good at that job. But the work doesn't speak for you. Have to do it, right? You have to fucking have this compelling spectacle, right? Trades speak for itself. Speedy sent me some pictures of the job. It's funny because he was building something that I actually want to build at my house, and he was building a big, huge version of it. Sent me some pictures of it, and I showed my wife, and she's like, "Man, that's so satisfying. That is so clean, so straight, so nice." You know, like she's like, it's satisfying, even to a person that doesn't even understand what went into it, right? I understand what went into it. Speedy knows firsthand what went into it. But it's just satisfying, right? So that's what you guys are doing. You guys are getting a stamp, right? But who in here wants to work in the trades the rest of your life? You guys want to work in the trades? Do you guys want to work in the trades, or do you guys want to own a business in the trades? Everybody wants to own a business. Everybody. Why would you? Because if you don't own it, it owns you, guys. Straight up. It's another thing that me and Speedy and me and JT have talked about before. If you don't own something, something owns you. That's what it is. Like, and that's addiction, relationships, everything. If you don't own your addiction owns you, right? Because your addiction tells you what to do. Your job tells you what to do. Your boss. If you don't own the things in your life, if you don't say my workout's at 3 o'clock, if your workout's between 3 in the afternoon, 3 in the morning and 3 in the afternoon, you don't own it. It owns you. And that's why you're out of shape and all that other kind of stuff and those excuses that happen. If you say, my workout's at 3 o'clock every single morning, and that's what it is, you own it, guys. You own it. You put parameters on it. So, part of that is that, you know, if you do work for somebody, work like you're fucking making way more money than you're making. The $115 an hour. Put your head down, work, and enjoy it. Work with a smile. My dad told me that my whole life. Go and work your ass off like you love it, even if you hate it. Work like you're making $115 an hour. And everybody in this room, just so you guys know, when we get out of prison, we're between $15 and $20 an hour, guys. Don't get diluted, right? Because we're learning stuff, you know what I mean? Don't go into something that you're not ready for. Don't go and apply for a job and say, hey, I'm a $25 an hour guy because I know all of this stuff, if you don't know it, right? Because that person that you're telling that to is going to remember what you said because he's paying the premium for that, right? So keep that in mind, guys. Get out, be that $20 an hour guy or 15 or whatever it is that you guys end up getting from it, from an interview. And look, get what you can get. But be honest. Because, like I said, it's the stamp is your work. It's not, I didn't do that. No, you fucking did that. You did that. You were the guy there for fucking 10 hours or whatever, and this is what you left behind, right? So when you guys are in here, and Speedy and JT and Haskins, I think the electrical guys in here, you know, you guys are all teaching, they're teaching you guys this stuff. They're giving you something that nobody can take from you unless you don't do it right. Because then nobody's going to want it. So it doesn't matter if it's, you know, if you have it or not, right? It has to be done like as if your name's on it, guys. So I normally don't talk about that, but I've been seeing some of my guys work, right? Some of my guys work, and I see, and sometimes I'm proud, and sometimes I'm like, fuck, man, is there any way to erase that day? But when I am proud, I'm like, damn, it's nice to see stuff where guys are taking pride in what they do, and they're not just trying to get a paycheck, right? Because the paycheck doesn't matter, guys. The paycheck does not matter. Like we keep talking about the process matters. The paycheck gets bigger, I promise you guys. Who believes that? The paycheck gets better. You know, I was making whatever it was, $15 an hour, $600, whatever, when I worked at 40 a week, right? I don't, you know, and I talk about numbers, and it's a compelling spectacle. I talk about numbers because if you guys bite on this and you guys go all the way on this, you guys can have it too. You know, the last I checked what I was making in a year, this is just 8 years ago when I was making $600. The last I checked, I made over $500,000 a year. But I'm not even sure. That's what it's rolled into, guys. And I'm very passionate about this because I was the guy with no education, 2 kids by the time I was a 10th grader. You know what I mean? 2 kids by the time I was a 10th grader. Bought my first house at 18, got married, got divorced, lost it all, went into my drug abuse, got clean, bought another house, lost it all, got back into it again. Me and JT met freaking a year later on a yard, you know, back, you know, off to the races, guys. Lost everything, including freedom. So the reason I tell you guys that about the numbers is not because I want you guys to be like, oh, if I do this, I will get that. You know what I mean? That's not what I want you guys to understand that this is a real story about real success. And it starts with that putting your head down and doing this and doing this and doing this and doing this, even though you fucking hate it. You know, Speedy called me or texted me the day after I spoke a few months ago. Said I was smiling when I was doing my burpees. I was like, this old motherfucker doing burpees.
Yeah.
Who still does burpees? Just go hands. Like who still does them? I know Stalker and Caselli now do them on like a Zoom call with each other. Because they're both out, they're both out now and do this in another city, so they do their burpees.
Hell yeah.
You know, when I went to prison, there was a mandate to do burpees, and I used to fucking say, fuck these motherfuckers, they're not gonna tell me what to do. But I did them anyway, because I was young, I was 24 years old. And I realized something now though, guys, and I've talked with some of these guys that have been here for a while about it. Burpees, when you went out there and you got with your group and everybody's doing burpees, right? We have our groups, unfortunately, that's the world we lived in. We didn't really get to know other races and all that kind of stuff. And especially when I went down, it was like really, really strict. When it's all said and done, the burpees weren't about, hey, come out here and work out and get in shape. It was a little bit. But 95% of that was, come and commit to me and my group. Come and show the other groups that you're committed, right? So I'm gonna implore you guys to commit to yourselves, right? Do the burpees. Just do them, guys. They suck. Everybody knows that. But show that commitment to yourself. Go in a corner. That's all you need is that little space right there. Go in a corner. Don't talk to anybody. Put your fucking ear pods on. Whatever the fuck you got. I don't use none of that shit. But do your shit. Do your shit for you. Like, the commitment's cool when you show other people. It's nice to commit to other people and for people to say, this motherfucker is committed, especially when you're in a marriage or something, or a relationship. But it's even more attractive to the world when you show commitment to yourself. Like, when you're like, hey, I gotta get my burpees. And they're like, oh, hey, talk to me about this. I will, when I'm done fucking doing my burpees, for me. Right? Who does that? Who has something like that in their life that they do for them? So the show of hands, do you do it for yourself?
Yes, sir.
Do you go and do it and you say, this is for me. This is my commitment to me. Not that I want to be shredded and fucking get the hottest chick I can get or dude.
Yeah.
Not just, I'm committed to my process. I want to be better. And I want to show up for me. So that's important, guys. And that's all part of, it's a workout and everything else. You guys should get a workout on top of your burpees, you know what I mean? But and we talk about the work in too a lot, where that commitment's a work in, right? The burpees works your body, and that's cool. And they're hard as fuck, so they're great for your body. But the work in portion of them burpees and being there every day, I do mine 7 days a week. Did mine this morning. That's another thing we can add to the fucking pork shoulders I got with the smoker, I did my burpees, So the burpees are a trip because the burpees put you in pain, right? They put you in pain, discomfort, but the commitment that you're showing yourself masks all of that. Isn't that crazy? So when you guys are in pain and discomfort in your everyday shit, where you're like, fuck, man, I can't make it out here. It's the same thing, guys. It's the same thing as doing your burpees. It's just that pain. It's that contraction phase of your life. Fucking take that in and understand that when things contract, they ultimately will expand, right? So if you're like, fuck man, JT's a dick, he doesn't know how to fucking teach painting, I can paint better than him. The best time for you to be listening to JT is when you think he's a dick and he doesn't know shit about painting. Let me tell you why, guys. Let me tell you why. Because you're suffering. And in suffering, you always have an expansion phase. There's always going to get better. It has to. You're suffering, right? So when Speedy's saying, fucking, I need you to fucking put this tile straight, I need you to use a laser, whatever the fuck he says, and you're like, fuck this dude. Best time to suck it up and listen to Speedy. You understand what I mean, guys? You understand what I mean? Because that's where That's where that discipline comes in, right? So I train martial arts 4 days a week, guys, with a world-renowned fucking striker. I was telling him about this, and this ties into this. So he's a world-renowned, he invented the Paragon striking system. This guy is unbelievable. Little tiny guy, but you just know he's a killer, you know? And I go in there, and I'm 230 pounds, and I've been in some kind of martial arts or something in my whole life, you know? And, you know, we all fought in prison. We all thought we were fighting in prison. You go to these places, you really know what fighting is. But, so I'm fighting, and the guy that I was sparring with, in the class that I take, by the way, from day one, you're getting punched in the face. It's not a hold your hands here thing. You either figure out how to hold your hands, or you get punched in the face. That's how they teach, right? And I love it. I love it, right? I don't like getting punched in the face, but that's to my point, right? I'm training with this guy the other day. I had a spiritual moment, guys. And look for these moments in your life. And the spiritual moments are far and few between. People use it as a tagline. That's spiritual. That was this, that was that. You'll know when it's spiritual. And I had a spiritual moment. I haven't had many of these, so I want to share this with you. So I always believe that violence under control is the ultimate discipline, right? Me and you are fighting and I'm not mad and you're totally mad. Who's in control of the situation? I am. I am. Right? It's the meaning of being the ultimate man or the ultimate woman, right? I am in control of me, you cannot control me, right? Rather you're punching my face or not. So I go up against this guy, he's in great shape. He's actually told me he was the next bodybuilder, so he's like in great shape. But he has 5 years experience at that gym with that coach, the killer, you know? So he knows all the shit already. And here I am, 6 months into it, learning a lot, really starting to fucking, but it doesn't mean anything against the guy that's been doing it for 5 years. That guy's closing his eyes and doing shit, you know? So we were learning something called a parry.
Yeah.
We were learning something called a parry, and a parry is just that's all it is. Smallest movement. Smallest movement. But I started comparing it to the things in my life. Where you know, a lot of guys are like doing this when you're trying to punch them in the face. But a parry is even more than that. A parry is not only a block, it's a small movement, but it's an attack move too, right? Boom, you know? Right? Does everybody get that? Very small, like 3 inches. It's not trying to keep from getting punched, right? Where you're fucking making all these mistakes and getting on your heels and getting the fuck beat out of you. So I started comparing this parry. The whole class was based on that, but we were striking, you know. And so when we went to sparring, I was like, okay, you punch each other in the face, right? So we're learning this parry. So I'm like, okay, parry, and there's different ways to do a parry, but there's small movements that are very impactful. Think about that, guys. Yeah. Apply that to something in your life right now, in your mind. A small movement. Get a driver's license. Do you have a driver's license? Get a driver's license if you don't have one. It's such a small little thing, a driver's license. Very impactful. You can't hardly have a job without it, guys. You know? So that parry class, like it taught me so much about myself. But that wasn't the spiritual part of it, guys. The spiritual part of it was, I was going against this guy, trying to punch him in the face. He's a good looking guy too. I was like, man, I really want to punch this guy in the face. I want to get one shot in on him. But he was so fast and he kept moving. You know, he was so fast and I was like, it's odd how the act of punching somebody in the face is violent, yet satisfying. And he's trying to punch me in the face, and was, by the way. You know, I'm still, look at I punched at him so many times that my freaking hand is bruised. I punched him so many times and he blocked it with his parry and his elbows and all this stuff so many times. My hands were both bruised after that. This is just the other day. And so I started thinking, I was like, man, it's odd how violence shared. He's teaching me how to be more violent towards him. Like, think about that for a minute. Think about that for a minute, guys. And yet we're both like, you know, he'd hit me in the face really good, and I'd be like, you know, because you get hit in the face really good, but you don't, the fight's not over. So you're not going to put your hands down, but you need to show some kind of recognition, like, got me. You know what I mean? Out of respect for him, and then he'll say, he'll give me that little thing like, I know I got you. You know what I mean? Like, I know I punched you in the face because I felt it on my fist, and it didn't hurt me a bit. That's the whole thing, right? So the spiritual part about that is I walked out of the gym and I looked at my wife and I said, I love that I found a thing in my life where I don't have to have all the answers. And I don't have all the answers. There is no answers, right? There's only instinct, right? There's only instinct, like fuck, man, fuck. So I kept doing that parry thing, and it's like swatting flies. That's all it is, guys. And it's so powerful in fighting, but it's such a small movement. You see fighters do it every day. Nobody even thinks anything of it, But if you did that in your life, we talked about it yesterday. For instance, I got out. 4 months later, I started an LLC. Didn't do anything with it. I was doing little odd jobs. But it just sat there as an LLC on the Arizona Corporation Commission. It didn't do anything. It wasn't doing anything for anybody, but it had a name. And I was like, mine. Have my name on it, And then I was like, well, now I'm starting to cut trees down with my property services business. I'm going to get insurance. So I got general liability insurance. I was like, okay, little Perry, right? Insurance. Fucking, so now I'm like, well, maybe I need to get a logo and some business cards. Another little Perry. It cost me $150. It's just a little movement, guys. So it's these little movements. You see these guys, like you see me, I own all these businesses and all this stuff. It was all little Perrys the whole way, guys. I didn't do any fucking big, huge things. I told them, hey, I left here and bought a plumbing company. You know what the reality of that was? I left here and a guy called me saying he was selling his plumbing company. I didn't do shit. I didn't even do anything. My Perry was answering the phone. And the guy was desperate. And me and him negotiated. And you use all your tools, right? You use everything you got. I made a couple moves here and there. It was painless for me. Didn't even get punched in the face on that one. You know what I mean? Somebody's always going to get punched in the face, right? Somebody's got to get punched in the face because that's how you win, right? And I feel like I won. But he feels like he won too because he was trying to get rid of his business. But when I called Speedy the next day, I was like, man, I bought a plumbing. I get so fucking fired up that I fucking went hard on this guy who bought this plumbing company. You know what I mean? So anyway, that's something that I wanted to share with you guys because I'm still kind of grasping it, guys. So I'm like you guys too, man. I want to learn why the fuck that's so impactful on me. Why is it so impactful on me that or anybody? Think about that, guys. When you guys get into this situation and you're like, you think that you're going through life and your situation is so fucking hard because you're in it. Step out a little bit. That's what they tell you. If you're not ready to throw that punch, just keep parrying until you get your shot, right? That's what he kept telling me. And I kept comparing it to how I talk to you guys. And in fact, that's what convinced me to fucking come and talk to the new class. I don't know who's heard me talk before, but I've never talked about this because this was just happened the other day. And I'm like, man, this is so important. Because fighting is timing and distance, and so is life, right? How long you been out?
50 days.
50 fucking days, right? What has he been doing, guys?
Working.
He's been doing this shit.
He's been doing it, yeah.
Just little shit, right? Because he's still sitting here and he looks sober.
Yeah.
So he's been just doing little shit. The parry is, I'm not getting high today, right? The parry is, I'm going to get in this fucking pain thing and fucking, you know what I mean? That's the parry, right? That's the little move that's going to get him there and keep him. And if you're not ready to punch back, don't. Just keep parrying. Keep parrying. When you're ready to punch, everybody will know it. Everybody will know it. They'll say, this motherfucker just got his driver's license. And if you get your driver's license, and it's not a big deal to the world, let it be a big deal to you guys. That's your punch, right? That's your punch. Right? Just say, I got my fucking driver's license. Now what, motherfuckers? You know what I mean? The rest of the world doesn't understand that, right? You know what I mean? I didn't have a driver's license until I was 18. I lost it when I was 18. I didn't get it until I got out fucking 8 years ago. 42 years old, I finally got my fucking driver's license. You know what I mean? Like, so it was such a big deal because I was like, damn, hell yeah, I was snapping on the table like a spades card, you know? Like, I was so happy, So, tips when look, 3 things you need, guys, and I always tell everybody this. You have to have a job, you have to have transportation, you have to have a place to rest your head, guys. You have to have a place to sleep. Solidify those things in the next 90 days. I don't know how much time you guys got left in here, but solidify those things, those 3 things. Those 3 things will keep you free. You know, add other things, add little parries like the burpees. Do the burpees even if you fucking think you suck at them. Do the burpees even if you hurt yourself doing them. Fuck it, guys. Die trying. Die trying, guys. You know, last time I was in here, I told the class that I was doing my burpees, but I was getting ready to admit myself to the hospital. I had some shit with my back. I kept doing my burpees, and guess what? I had all these appointments for physical therapy. I canceled them all, you know what I mean? Because I'm just going to keep doing my shit, and I don't feel any pain today. I feel great. In fact, I did my burpees today. I was like, damn, I wish these motherfuckers were watching a video of this shit. Because I wouldn't even have to say anything, because I look and feel so good, you know what I mean? And that's what it does to you guys. That's what it does when you do these little moves, right? Fuck, that felt good not to get punched in the face. And when you do those little moves in your life, get your driver's license. Get down and get with TES before you get out on the road and start moving amongst the world and get your insurance. Do all the things that we gotta do. Get your food stamps. Who gives a fuck? Let the state give you what you got coming. You know, I'm sitting here right now, fucking, I don't have a need or whatever for food stamps, but I did at one time, and I took advantage of it. Don't be too prideful. Pride overrules common sense, guys. Look, Dad, I'm not talking to her anymore. Well, then you're gonna lose her, motherfucker. That's what that is. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? You see the guy get mad at his lady, I'm not talking to her anymore. Like that's his pride instead of saying, you know what, I'm a dick too. Do that in your life. Do that at your job. Man, I didn't show up. Boss, is there anything I can do to make up for that? Can I work Saturday? Humble yourself. I'm not telling you guys to live your life on your knees unless you're praying. But what I am saying is, be willing to bow before you go into the fight. You know what I mean? Show some respect. Show some respect to this world. You know what I mean? Because when it's all said and done, the more respect you show, the universe is going to give it back, guys. It's the law of the universe, guys. So three tips, real quick. Slow down. That's easy, guys. My brother told me that every fucking day. Slow the fuck down. You don't have to have a $9 million business tomorrow. You don't have to have it. But you can do a little parry and get you an LLC just to look at it. $50. It's something to fucking put the piece of paper that says letter of organization, articles of organization, and Speedy knows all about this. You get this piece of paper and you're like, damn, I got a company. I got a company now. Now you start adding stuff to it, So slow down, guys. Don't try to fucking, just right away fucking, jump over the fucking Caesar's Palace and shit. Try an irrigation ditch or something first, you know what I mean? Like, don't go fucking like right off the rails, you know what I mean? Just slow the fuck down and fucking take it as it comes. Do a process that's the same thing every single day. Get bored with your life. That's the goal, guys. Be bored with your life. Because your life, that portion, the things you do every day, if they're boring, means that you're so fucking good at it, you're tired. Right? When your life starts to change, is going to be when you're so bored and so good at it that it turns into something else. Because you're able to do more than what you're doing every single day. You guys get that? Who gets that? Just show it down. So guys, like I come here, I drive all the way from Wickenburg. Does anybody know where that's at? Yeah. Okay, so I drive here for me. What comes out of anything I say, it's up to you guys to take in. Like, I come here for me. Because it's important to me to know that I'm at least giving one person a shot. You haven't taken your eyes off of this situation since I've been here. You either think this dude's fucking full of shit, or you're like, I got hope in my life. I'm going to do something, right? Which one is it? And you should have hope, right? Yeah. We talked about this before, and I'm going to go over it again, guys. I wear this hat right here. A lot of people have fucking issues with it, especially when you walk in churches and things like that, or whatever, But the hat says, bad motherfucker, right? And people take offense to weird shit. Fuck, because it's how you feel about yourself, right? It's how you go into everything. Are you a bad motherfucker, or are you just a turd, right? I talked about this before. I feel like I'm a bad motherfucker at everything I do, even when I fail, right? Because I can even fail good. Because I've done it so many fucking times, guys. I'm like, the best at it as far as I'm concerned. Unless one of you guys got a fucking better story of failing. I've done it fucking many times. I have repetitions, just like my workout. I know exactly the way it feels. I know exactly what it's gonna get me. So I'm a bad motherfucker at failing, right? I can fail better than anybody, right? Or maybe you guys feel that way about yourself, and if you do, that's awesome. Because if you can be a bad motherfucker at failing in life, the universe will give you the other side too, guys. You can be a bad motherfucker at living your life, right? So, look, keep working, guys. I'll get this other little tip: save money, even if it's $2 a week. I don't give a fuck what it is. The act of saving money. Put $2 in a savings account and say you're not going to touch it. First, get a fucking savings account. That's a perk, right? I got a savings account. It is a small little thing that fucking is big in the long run, guys. Because let me tell you something. I bought a house on my 2-year anniversary of getting out of prison. I got 5 acres, little tiny ranch, 2,000 square foot house. They gave me the keys on my anniversary day of getting out of prison 2 years after I got out. I wouldn't have been able to do that if I wasn't showing some kind of bank stuff. So have all your shit in line, guys. Don't work for fucking cash like I did. Don't do it. Don't work for under the table. Don't do any of that. Even if you make less money, work on the books. Work W-2. Show this fucking person in 2 years that you can buy a house. Do that, guys. Nothing meant more to me in this world, besides Ivar being born 8 months ago, but prior to that, than me getting those fucking keys, man. Because there was you know what it signified? I fucking unlocked the doors. I lock the doors now.
Yeah.
Picture that, guys. Picture fucking, even if it's an apartment you're renting. Get your first apartment. That's a punch. That's a punch. Your first apartment, right?
Yeah.
Go to Walmart, spend fucking $200 on fucking garbage shit that makes it look cool. But that's a punch. It's fucking badass, right? It's badass, guys. You know what I mean? That's what you guys are looking forward to, right? You're gonna perf a lot, but don't be prideful about it, because perfect's fucking taking the world offline. The shit that's coming at you, it's taking it offline. Get that apartment, bam. Get that fucking shit in your apartment. Oh wait, we did a 1-2 on it, right? All in one, right? Do you guys get it?
Yeah.
It's all timing and distance. It's fucking be in the right place at the right time. You know, transportation, a job, a place to sleep, guys. You guys gotta get that shit. You guys have to get that. You have to have it. Finances, look. You don't go fucking when you have $10 in your savings because you've listened to me and for 5 weeks you've been saving $2 and you got $10 in your savings. Don't go spend $9. What the fuck? Like, don't do that, guys. I have a rule in my house, and it's for everybody in my house. We don't spend more than 10% of what we own overall, guys. So if I have $500,000 in the bank, fucking I can spend 10% of it at any given time. I would never fucking do that. But if I have $100 in the bank, I can spend $10. 11 would be against the rule, right? Does everybody get that?
Yeah.
You cannot survive financially if you guys do not do that. I promise you. I'm a math guy. I worship the math. That's right. That's the king. Because the math is all we got, guys. The math is all we got. When it's all said and done with your finances, the only thing that matters is pluses and minuses, right? And if you take away from it, it's gone. So don't take away from it. Don't do that. Don't fucking spend that money. Keep that money. Keep your nest egg. You guys understand why? Because my nest egg, like I didn't take my wife, who I'm married to now, I didn't take her out for the first year. She's like, "Are you ever going to take me out?" I said, "Yeah, when I can afford it." She's like, "You're making all this money, you're doing all this side jobs and all this stuff." And I said, "I can't afford to take you out. I'm not going to take you out. You like me? Let's hang out at a park. It's free." I took her to Goldstone twice, so I won't say. So, because I'm going to tell you guys, and I say this in every single time I talk to anybody, the guy that said money doesn't buy happiness was broke. Fuck that dude. He doesn't fucking know what the fuck he's talking about. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Because when I'm able, you know, something, a water heater goes out of my house, I'm a plumber, so it's a little bit easier for me, but bad example, but I can put a water heater in my house. I'm not gonna be like, you know, who grew up without electric or gas? Like, where you're like fucking before school and you jump out, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna have to do that. And so what is that? That makes me happy. I'm gonna take a warm fucking shower, you know? So, just, guys, there has to be a blueprint. You have to have a plan. So when you guys leave here, you know, I could go into the process for you guys, and I could say, I could interview you for 10 minutes, and we could come up with your process. And if you did it by the letter, every single minute, every day, you will be successful. You will have something. You will have something. But that would be me doing it for you. Part of the process, and part of it, is you guys figuring out what it's going to take. Now, this is something that's very important. This last portion of this, and I know Josh probably needs to get you guys going and do something. Guys, if you're standing around smoking and joking, talking to some dude that has absolutely nothing going for him, and he's saying, "Hey, this."
Oh yeah, Lacey knows about it. Yeah, they know about it. I'm in Phoenix with Kenny right now.
Don't listen to people that have
He's
not
talking
done it.
at New Freedom.
Why would you do that?
They know about it though.
Why would you do that?
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They need to have a loading mask,
why would
for
you
sure.
do that?
I told her that. Yeah.
You know, so when it's all said and done,
Yeah. I'll talk to you
you know,
later. Bye.
if I'm gonna try to get in shape, right? And I'm always trying to get in shape. I'm not gonna go ask somebody that's not in shape. Why would I fucking do that? Why would I do that? They're not in shape for a reason. You know, school counselor, a police officer, and the principal came to my house the other day because my kid got, you know, an altercation. My kid trains jiu-jitsu, boxing, everything you can think of for 3 hours a day, 4 days a week. He's 11 years old. He's my stepson. He knows not to fuck with any of that shit, ever. Not to ever use it unless he's either in a competition or he's fighting for his life. So some kids came up to him on the schoolyard, 6 kids, and said they were going to jump him. He said, "Okay, I'm prepared to fight you." Who do you think got kicked out of school? My fucking kid. Because he wasn't talking. He was just telling them, "I'm prepared to fight you." And for those words, they said it was threatening. He didn't even get a hold of them. They kicked him out of school. So they came, because I fucking called an attorney, because real gangsters in this day and age fight with attorneys, so I called an attorney, and she was salivating to go sue this school again, for the 3rd time it would have been. And so she came and she said, and we started talking, and she said, "Just let him come but report everything." So they walked in my house, and the lady walked in, and she was, you know, obviously somebody that didn't take care of herself, and just her hair was disheveled, everything else. She was the counselor. The police officer that came in looked like he just finished a bottle of 10 High. And the vice principal was, as he was walking up my driveway, I live on a mountain, so he was like out of breath on the way up. And they all came in, and I said, "Oh wait, hold on a minute. Let me just tell you, record this, what's your qualifications?" And the lady said, "Oh, I'm a counselor." I said, "So you have a degree?" And she said, "No." I said, "Then you're not a counselor." And I said, "That's not what disqualifies you. What disqualifies you is you came in my house, and I can see just visually that you don't even take care of yourself. You are not going to be in charge of my son's mental health. So don't talk to my son." Wow. The police officer said, "We should do this and you should do that." And I said, "Really? You're going to tell me about the law? You're going to tell me about the law? When? After you finish that next bottle of 10 High?" I said, "It's written all over your face. I was raised by alcoholics." I said, you're waxing off a bottle of 10 High every fucking night probably. And you've probably been doing that for 40 years as long as you've been a police officer." I said, "So listen, don't come here and try to fix things in my life until you have that under control." And he didn't say a word the rest of the time. The last thing he said to me before he left was, "I failed your son and I failed your family." Whoa. Let me tell you why he did that, guys. Let me tell you why he did that. I didn't even get to the vice principal. I just told the vice principal, "Look, you're in charge of children?" And he goes, "Yeah, been doing it for 30 years. I said, "God help our children." I said, "You don't even take care of yourself. You're the example for my children. Yeah. You're the example for hundreds of children for 30 years. I said, "Do you keep track of these kids? Because we need to fucking contact these kids and let them know that you're a lie. You're not the truth. So don't come to my house thinking you're going to come here and tell me how bad my kid is, when my kid lives in a household that's financially disciplined." That's physically disciplined, mentally disciplined. We fix stuff that's broke. Me and my wife, if we feel like I still suffer from a little bit of PTSD, who else suffers from that? From getting out of prison? Who's crying on a regular basis? Real men say yes. Just by the way. Who feels like they need to? Right? I was doing that. We fix that kind of shit in my household. That's why I didn't go to that school counselor for that. Fuck her. But she doesn't know what if she came and she was ripped and freaking hair was, and she was dressed properly, and she wasn't just like, acting like she wasn't supposed to be there and all that stuff, I'd be like, okay, wait a minute. She doesn't have a degree, but this woman might be invested in these children. But she wasn't, because she came unorganized and she came unorthodox. And she didn't come as a person that represents. And that's what we have to do, guys. You have to be proper in everything you do. You know, you have to be proper in everything you do. Because there's no break. We don't get a break now, guys. We don't get a break. You know, a friend of mine, and I won't say who, saw a guy on a bench the other day that threw a rock, a transient, threw a rock through his sister's truck window, you know, $70,000 truck window. You know, grew up with his sister, they're about the same age, all that, really close on the ranch, you know. What do you think he did? The second question I asked you, he went back to prison, guys. He's sitting in here today, but his mind went back to prison. You guys sleeping on a bench, I can get it right now. Yeah, you can fucking do that, guys. You can do that anytime you guys want. But you know what? You will go back. And you know what that guy will do? Go to the doctor and fucking be right back on the bench, not even giving a fuck about you. You know? So listen, guys, sometimes the common sense has to override the pride, and that's a discipline, you know? Do you guys all get that? Don't be prideful. Don't get out here and be like, fucking nobody's talking to me. Fucking fuck them if they don't like it. Well, no, fuck you if you don't like it. We left them, guys. We left them. And you're going to have struggles out here. I touched on the PTSD thing. That's the thing that sends us back. You agree with that, Speedy? Yeah. The PTSD thing is the number one thing that sends us back. When I got out, I started a nonprofit, me and a couple of convicts, and we did studies on it. We did studies on it at U of A and at ASU. They had convicts from all over going and interviewing with these people. And what they came up with was what they call post-incarceration PTSD. We don't have to call it anything except for a tough time, right? It's tough. It's tough to get through. It's tough to get through. And the more passionate you are about doing good, the harder it is to get through, guys. I'm telling you from experience. Because I got out, I was fully prepared, man. I got fucking degrees in prison and everything, huh? I went to business school, took sociology, psychology, fucking substance abuse, got 2 fucking personal trainer certificates. You know, I did all that shit. Thought I was fucking totally ready. The one thing I wasn't ready for is that shit. PTSD, we'll call it PTSD, guys, for the sake of argument. But what that is it's the trick bag that sneaks up on you when you're not looking. It's the one thing that you can't fucking hurt, because it's coming from behind, it's coming from inside. You can't be like, oh shit, you know, you can't do it. So when it starts happening, you have to have another move. Call me, call Speedy, call JT, call Giles, call somebody that's probably going through it too, but understands it, right? Because guys, it's a real fucking thing. It's a real thing. Getting out of prison, this thing happens, and then most guys are like, fuck, I can't deal anymore, man. Or I can't deal anymore. Whatever the fuck happens, right? You know, I've seen it all different ways. I buried fucking almost a dozen of my friends because they couldn't deal, right? And it's because they fucking went through this whole PTSD thing and they couldn't deal, guys. Me personally, I have a handful of people that I call, you know. I don't have a whole bunch of friends, guys. You guys can probably tell, because I'm one of those guys that fucking says it like it is. And you don't get good friends. You don't get a lot of friends like that. But here's the thing about friends. You can have a fucking handful of pennies that equal $1, or you can have 4 quarters that equal $1. And this is what I tell my son all the time. Don't worry about having a bunch of friends. Just have quarters. Have quarters, because quarters will be there for you. So you guys find your quarters, find your 4 quarters. When you guys go through that go through that issue, and you guys will go through that issue. It may not come up like how mine does. Mine's impending doom and stress and pain and all this other shit. I'm suicidal, all this weird shit, you know. And I would just call somebody and do my little breakdown, and then it's all right. So, guys, if you guys are afraid or too prideful to do that, God help you. You know what I mean? Or maybe just reserve your spot. Maybe reserve your guys' spot. Or like I used to tell people, keep $500 in a coffee top. So when you guys get to processing, you'll have $500 on your books. So that's what I'm telling you guys. Straight up, if you guys don't address that and fucking address it right away when you start feeling it, you guys have a rough time. You know, me and Giles talked about it. Me and Speedy have talked about it. Me and Speedy talk a lot, guys. And let me tell you something else. Don't waste these guys' time, guys. I wanted to say this because I was talking to you last night. Giles, all these guys that are fucking doing everything. Don't waste this time, guys. These people's time. Because he was telling me something last night that fucking doesn't mix with my belief system. But I love that he told me anyway. Because he knows I don't believe this way. He said, I don't care about the money. To me, that's like, fucking, you might as well hit me in the face with a baseball bat when you say you don't care about money. Because money does set you free. But, he said, I care about these people. And I thought, okay, that's fucking awesome. That's awesome. You guys don't have to care back, right? You guys can hate him. And hate him and still do the class and do well at it. Because that's when you're going to, the guys that hate him and still do well at it, went through something different than the guys that just love him, right? You got way more out of it. You guys understand that? You guys all understand that? Because you're in a contraction phase the whole fucking time that you have to deal with this cocksucker. You know? So guys, just look, work your process. Giles kicked me out of here, but listen, guys. I want you guys to know something. I drive an hour here. I meditate on the way here. I'll meditate on the way home. I don't know what the fuck's gonna happen Monday morning. Because every time I leave here, I fucking get so fired up. I'm in the middle of a fucking deal on a mechanical company right now. And fucking Speedy calls me and fucking gets me all worked up on this tile company. I'm deep in that fucking, looking at that fucking company. I mean, you know, we might fucking buy that company together. Another buddy of mine fucking was already on it before you even called me about it. So he's trying to buy it. I'm gonna fucking, we'll battle for it, or maybe we'll all buy it. So, does anybody have any questions for me that where I can put you guys on the right track? Go ahead, bud.
So like I'm always respectful, but it's just the way that when people come on to me, I get like my emotions get affected me.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to figure out how to do that. But do you have anything I can work on?
So that's pride, right?
Yeah.
So that's pride, and here's the thing. Here's what I teach my little boy. So let's take it back to brass tacks, right? So this is what I teach my little boy. If somebody comes to you and says something crazy to you, right? And you say something crazy back, or you let that person adjust you, where are you guys at in level? Like, as far as levels are concerned, where are you guys at?
I'm passive.
So when he comes up to you and he says something, you're just as bad as he is, if not even, because he already beat you. He got through the perv, or the parry, you know? He got through the parry. He hit you in the face. You didn't even try. You know what I mean? So I guess my point would be, you know, maybe do a slip and just let it slip right the fuck off your back, because if it doesn't make you happy, guys, I'm not a real happy guy, so I say that loosely, and it doesn't make you money, why would you have it in your life, guys? Why? If it doesn't make you happy, it doesn't make you money. So if somebody comes to you and says, hey man, I don't fucking like that fucking cup you're drinking out of. You know? Because that's really what somebody saying that they don't like about you really is, right? It doesn't fucking matter what they say. Because it doesn't matter if they say, I don't like the air that you breathe, or whatever. It doesn't matter how stupid it is, it's all stupid, right? So if you engage, well, you'll never get that time back, first of all. And secondly, your discipline level will suffer from it, right? Because when somebody says something crazy to me, here's what I always tell people. Say something crazy to me, and I'm gonna fucking level up. And most times they don't like to level up. You know what I mean? And it's not fighting. I'm not talking about fighting. I'd go through this whole thing where, okay, this guy's gonna say stuff crazy to me. I'm gonna fucking shut a door, lock it, and everything else, and fucking live my life, and that dude's never gonna get anything from me now. You know what I mean? Go ahead.
Let me interject real quick. Framers, everybody outside for the framers, everybody else can stay. The framers, if you guys want to stop and wait for Kenny to talk with them, you can. But I need you guys back outside, please.
Yeah.
All right. We're gonna get them back out.
Yeah, for sure.
You guys got it? You guys like it? Huh? Good one, huh? Sure.
Struggle Jenny.